After almost 2 weeks, sorry it was finals week, TWOW 8B is here. Most of you pointed out that the 24-hour prize provided little to no advantage, and I kinda agree. On top of that, most people don't check their YouTube PMs. And on top of that, the prompt could be leaked, rendering the prize worthless. So I decided I'm gonna have a different prize instead, which I'll announce later. Second, wow, how nice of you! I actually really want that to happen. It just sounds so pleasant. Third, to AN9K. I know you placed last, but TWOW really wasn't made to insult you. In fact, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would like to have the bottom spot and would wear it as a badge of honor. Think of it this way, it's an achievement that's one of a kind and you've got it. And if it's true that other people are bullying you over it, hey other people, stop bullying AN9K. Fourth, the text file of all TWOW data up through episode 8 is in the link in the description. Okay, so the 8th TWOW prompt was, choose any word with up to 10 letters. Then, write an acronym for that word describing the word itself. 70 people submitted entries and only the top 56 will survive. 413 voters cast 533 votes, which is quite low, but whatever. The winner won with a score of 72.27%, which is a palindrome. Were you the one who got this palindromic percentile? Well, it just so happens that the number one response was... Amazingly unusual transportation option moves objects beyond inconceivable lateral ends, standing for automobile and submitted by Riley. Congratulations, Riley. Last time you placed in the lowest spot of the top 10. This time, you have the highest spot of the top 10. Plus, without that 7% advantage, you actually had 65.27%, but that was still the highest natural score. Here's the rest of the top 20. Now I know a lot of you are thinking that there are too many familiar faces up there, and that's partially true, 7 out of 10 are returners. But remember that there's only 70 people left, so hitting the top 10 isn't so hard anymore. Also, welcome to the top 10, newbies Taupone H6427, Crafty7, and Sam Billinge. You know what? Having 4 previous TWOW 7 top 10ers fill the top 5 in TWOW 8 does make it seem like there's no TWOW mobility. So we need a prize that won't benefit the top 10ers too much. How about this? The score guessing game. Hey, top 10ers of TWOW 8, are you listening? When you submit your TWOW 9 response, guess what percentile you'll get on that response? The closer you are to your true percentile, the bigger percentile boost you'll get. The boost is determined by this formula, which means that if you nail it right on the head, you'll get an unbelievable plus 24% advantage. But if you're 2% off, your boost is already down to plus 8%. If you're 5% off, it's down to plus 4%. And if you're 11% off, it's down to plus 2%. So this prize typically helps you very little, but if you can surprise us with your accuracy, then you'll get a huge reward. One interesting thing to note is that every top 20 TWOW 8 entry used all 10 words. More on that in a bit. Midnight Light, Reed Posey, and John Dubuk all talked about TWOW related topics: eliminated, commenters, and contestant. John Dubuk's entry might even be referencing itself, while Midnight Light's definitely isn't. Ping Pong Cup Shots, the first TWOWer to top 2 thrice, and Sam Billinge criticized 2 institutions: the education system and the capitalist market. Perhaps if either of these became too extreme, we'd end up with what Taupone H6427 described, an apocalypse. Crafty7's psycho response on psychology was the only top 10 response to clearly use 2 sentences, and Chi-Chi Knits' response on backpackers was the only top 10 response to include the initialized word within the acronym itself. And finally, Tak Ajnan produced a perfect acronym for perfection. But I can feel that curiosity buzzing under the surface. The rest of you guys want to know how well you did. Out of the 70 of you still in, the top 56 will get to breathe high concentrations of TWOW in your air, whereas the bottom 14 will overdose from toxic levels of anti-TWOW. Let's see which way the wind is blowing. At this point, 40 of you have been declared safe, but 30 of you have not, and there's already only 16 safe spots left. To these 14 irreplaceable TWOWers, you are an integral part of our community. Thank you for all your hard work over the last 3 months. We appreciate it so much, and it's so sad to see you breathe your last TWOW exhalations. Someone who was unbelievably close to breathing their last TWOW exhalations was Ender Dragon. In addition to getting one of the last 11 safe spots in TWOW 3 and 4, Ender Dragon snatched the very last safe spot in both TWOW 7 and 8. You're really hanging by a thread, Ender, but like I said earlier, that's being efficient. To summarize, here's who's still in and who's eliminated. If you're eliminated, you won't be able to send me any more responses for upcoming TWOW Season 1 prompts. Moving on, to the remaining 56 of you, let's start TWOW 9. But first, here are all the 70 words that were initialized in TWOW 8, ordered by alphabetical order, length, average percentile, and standard deviation. If you look at this graph, you'll see that the correlation between word length and percentile was very weak. What does that mean? Well, contestants, even though every top 20 response had 10 words, you really didn't need to churn out all 10 words to do well. The correlation between word length and standard deviation was a bit stronger. In general, shorter words were more controversial. They either appeared to have no effort put into them, or were brilliantly short and sweet. The epitome of this was "The Cat's So Nice's People Order Our Patties," which was not only our shortest response, but was also the most controversial. And by the way, these were the least controversial responses. 4 words were used twice: Aardwolves, Animation, Carry KH, and Homework. And 1 word, Xenon Virus's Psycho, was completely contained within Crafty7's Psychology. And since I'm so good at psychology, I know exactly what you viewers are thinking. You're wondering what the TWOW 9 prompt is. Well, it's the optional portion prompt. To show you how this works, I'll give you an example. If you read this without the parenthesized stuff, it says, "They went to battle knowing they'd be killed." If you read it with the parenthesized stuff, it says, "They went to battle for education knowing they'd be skilled." 2 very different stories. Your goal is to do something similar. Write a response of up to 10 words that completely changes meaning when you take out the stuff in parentheses. As you can see, you can include either letters or full words or both in parentheses, and you can have any number of parentheses in your response. Finally, the word count is still calculated the same, just as if the parentheses were letters in a word. If you think this might be too hard, just realize you can literally put a not in parentheses to do the job. But that's not very interesting. Try to create a response whose 2 stories are as drastically different as possible, and try to do it in an unexpected way. Submit your responses via YouTube PM by March 22, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. And top 10ers of TWOW 8, don't forget to guess what your response's score will be. You viewers will get to vote on these anonymous responses in the next video, TWOW 9A.